It's going to be there all. Them out there on the cornerback, and that opens up that entire third of the field open in space for that out route. They've run the same coverage 2 times in a row on third down. They might need to change it up the next third down, so that route's not there for the taking.
Workman's reception good for the first down. Van Buren drops back, has a man, throws this one, and able to come up with it, lost the hat, but Kyrie Benton with a circus catch. There's a flag down. So that's going to go against Benton after the catch. Unsportsmanlike conduct going against the Panthers wide receiver.
And great arm strength on display on the previous play by quarterback Michael Van Buren. Threw a dart in there on that post pass. Of course, a great pass reception there as well by Benton, but looked like he had a few words to say after the game, after the play to the DeSoto defensive back. It cost him 15 to back him up.
Another handoff, able to get through, picks up 3, does the Panthers running back. That was Nicholas Harris on his first carry. And Lane, we saw in our first game in today's doubleheader, Duncanville, a lot of penalties from the Panthers in the first half. They were able to clean them up in the second, ultimately come away with the victory, but these teams, as good as they are, they need to keep the miscues to a minimum.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough enough to beat a quality opponent, and it's really hard when you're beating yourself as well. Van
Buren has a man first down out in space, and up to the 31 goes the Panther wide receiver, Isaiah Neal. Isaiah Neal with the reception.
And so far, no adjustment for that type of play. That clear out with a route coming in underneath it so far from DeSoto. Good job by Coach Hyla-Miriam. Watching tape, obviously, figuring out where that weak spot is for the DeSoto secondary coverage.
New set of downs for Van Buren. Again, the handoff, and Robinson nowhere to go as he's hitting the backfield for a loss of 1.
Good job by stringing that play out right there, and then eventually number 31, Brandon Booker, comes up to clean it up. Good job at the point of attack. DeSoto defensive line really holding their ground and absolutely nowhere to go for that running back.
2nd and 11. And Buren gets the sign from the sideline. Pressure in his face, and just off the fingertips of his intended target. He was looking for Tyler Stewart. Senior wideout couldn't bring it down.
And I bet Van Buren kind of slapped his chest a little bit, saying my bad on that one, because he had that wide receiver open. Really only about 1 foot too tall, but I bet when he sees that on film tomorrow, he wish he had that one back, because it looked like a little bit better throw, and that's going to be 6 points for the Panthers.
Brings up 3rd and 11. 6:20 remaining here in the first quarter. DeSoto striking first. Can the Panthers respond? And they do so. There is your answer. Van Buren able to find his target on the money to Ryan Manning.
Van Buren to Manning on that post route. That looks like what they like to do when they want to go deep. They attack the middle of the field. They did it before on a great catch by Benton, and now following up with the touchdown to Manning. And they like it. They've done their homework. They like that little out route when they need to go shorter, and they like that post when they need to go deep. And we should have a tie ball game here coming up. Although it looks like they might be going for 2 here, Kit.
Panthers known to go for 2 at times, and we'll see if they're going to do so here and take an early lead. Not a team that is accustomed to playing from behind, not a position they like to be in.
Whatever they're doing, they better do it quickly, because they're going to run out of time on the play clock here.
Van Buren in, and indeed it appears that the Panthers will go for 2. The handoff, and we will see where they mark him. It appears to be just a bit short. No, excuse me, they're going to say that DeJuan Williams able to get in for the 2-point conversion, and the Panthers on top, 8-7, 6:08 remaining in the first quarter.
DeJuan Williams following his big right guard, pulling around, leading him up into the hole on a lead play, and does a good job lowering his pads, keeping his feet moving, stretching out just enough to cross the goal line, and putting the St. Francis Panthers up by 1 point. And so far, what has been a very good first quarter. Halfway through, we've got 2 touchdowns. We've got long passes, long kick returns. So far, this game's living up to everything I thought it would be.
Wayne, I mentioned St. Francis not shying away from playing anyone. They will travel 8,000 miles this season to play 7 road games, including games here in Texas, in Florida, and Hawaii. To put that into perspective, that is almost 4 times further than the University of Maryland Terrapins will travel during their regular season.
That is absolutely incredible. They should be racking up the frequent flyer mileage by the end of this season. But, you know, I think that also speaks to kind of where they are as a football program. They don't exactly have teams lining up to play them, so they have to go wherever they can to get a game. And I tell you what, I wouldn't mind if my coach came in and said, fellas, we're going to be going to Hawaii for a football game. I believe that'd be okay with me.
From Patterson Park to, well, it's going to be an onside. Hold on. And there was number 41 for DeSoto, Wesley Hudson, on top of it. Heads up play from the Eagles.
That is a good heads up play. You certainly don't expect that at this point in the ball game. They didn't even have their hands teams out there. Good job by the big fellow up there, Wesley Hudson, being aware of what was going on and adjusting. And that onside kick, you know, it's a serious risk reward if you're not doing it at the end of the game when you got to score. It looks great if you pull it off. It gives your opponent really good field position if you don't. And look at where DeSoto has the ball right here. They've got it on the St. Francis side of the 50 to start their second drive of the ball game.
DeSoto just has to go 48 yards for their second touchdown. A little handoff. It'll be a gain of 2. That time, DeAndre Ridden Jr. with the carry.
Good job from the defensive line from 55, Colin Coates. Stuff in the middle on that play, stopping it for a minimal gain.
Flag comes in.
Looks like a false start on everyone but the center.
That's going to be the case. So from 2nd and 8 now to 2nd and 13.
And one thing you definitely don't want to do, you don't want to give the Panthers a chance to tee off on you from the pass rush. You can see number 15 there, LSU commit Deshaun Womack, 6'5", 245 pounds, and you know he wants to rush the passer.
They certainly have that ability. This one will be out of bounds, incomplete, brings up 3rd and long. Wayne, right you are. When teams get into these kind of situations, 3rd and long, this is really where the Panthers defense shines.
You know, and any defensive coordinator, 3rd and long, it's really what do you want to do? I mean, you can cover everybody, you can max cover, you can max blitz, you can do a little bit of both. It's really in the defense's favor on a down and distance like this.
Still able to get away, at least for the time being, and out of bounds goes the pass from Darius Bailey, brings up 4th down. And there's the pressure we mentioned in the face of number 15.
And the pressure applied by number 15, Womack, as we said before, the LSU commit. Good job working that left tackle from DeSoto. He's going to be the right tackle from DeSoto. Got that big, long arms. It's hard to get away from him, and certainly hard to make any sort of accurate throw if you're Darius Bailey when you got that guy in your face.
The Eagles will have to punt it away. They had a very short field in their first offensive drive, just 2 yards in fact, after the impressive kickoff return. DeSoto will have to back up another 5 yards before they're able to punt this one away.
And that drive right there, that highlights the danger versus St. Francis. When you get in 2nd and long and 3rd and long, it's going to be tough for any offense to execute.
Panthers will let this one bounce, and DeSoto will down it at the 33. That is where Van Buren and company will start the drive. St. Francis on top, 8-7, 5:05 remaining in the first. Here at Clark Stadium in Fort Worth, game 2 in our I-20 Classic game doubleheader.
That first drive for St. Francis looks like kind of the run up the middle, a pass into the flats with one receiver clearing the other out in deep post. That looks like the early game plan. Very successful so far for the St. Francis Panthers.
And Buren, a little quick hitter underneath, has his target. Here comes Workman. Workman across midfield and into Eagle territory.
And that's what you do when you have athletes. Get them the ball quick, let them do what the good Lord gave them ability to do. You get athletes out in space, you get Workman and his crew out in space. He's so fast he ran out of his shoe, but you're one missed tackle away from someone taking it to the house right there.
1st and 10 from the 47. And Buren changing things up.
I always felt bad for the offensive line. That's to stay in the stance that long. That's tough for those guys.
And Buren feeling bad as well, so he and his team will go ahead and take a timeout. You want to keep the big guys happy with you. All good quarterbacks know that much. So a timeout taken. Just over 4 minutes remaining here in the first quarter. St. Francis leading DeSoto 8-7. DeSoto took the opening kickoff almost the length of the field. Took it down to the 2-yard line, and then 2 plays later, able to find Jonte Cook for the touchdown. And playing St. Francis, they responded almost immediately. A methodical drive from the Panthers down the field. That is what people have grown accustomed to seeing from that side right there.
And absolutely, and it's, you know, it's kind of hard to figure out what you want to do as a defensive coordinator. You know, do you want to stop the run? Do you want to make sure you stop the pass? You're going to bring a guy up into the box. You're going to leave your outside defensive backs on islands. You know, what are you going to do when you're playing someone with talent at every position like St. Francis? But it'll be a good test for DeSoto. Of course, get them ready for coming up when they got to play Duncanville. They're in the same district, so it'll be good work for everyone involved here.
Mark your calendar, October 28th at Panther Stadium in Duncanville. That is when DeSoto will make the trip to take on that district foe. It's a first down for the Panthers. That should be a good one, always is, and you would imagine the district decider to see who will be crowned the champion there. Van Buren, plenty of time complete, has his target. And again, it's Workman. appears to be the favorite target of Michael Van Buren.
And you can see that time the DeSoto defensive back, he did a better job getting out into the flat. That's where they hurt him on that first drive. He's still just a little bit short, though. You can see that ball just over his fingertips. He's headed in the right direction, but still, you're going to have to get all the way out there because you know Van Buren, he's going to put that ball on a dime when he throws it. So you're going to have to be exact in your coverage.
Panthers in the red zone. 1st and 10 from the 17. Van Buren steps up, looks to run. Van Buren will wisely just throw this one away. Pressure in his face that time. It was number 31, Brandon Booker.
And that's a really phenomenal sort of mental clock in his head to know to step up and run, and also know he can get rid of it without stepping over the line of scrimmage, and that is a lot. It's easy to sit up here in the booth and think about that, but doing that full speed while getting chased, that's pretty impressive.
Coming around the side, inside the 10 and down to the 5. It's going to be 1st and goal, Panthers. DeJuan Williams on the carry.
And the first time they've really gotten around the edge, St. Francis. No one really from DeSoto there trying to force that play back inside. Left side of that offensive line from St. Francis doing a good job moving the defensive end from DeSoto back out of the way, and no safety in the picture either to make that ball not get all the way to the sideline.
Again, they will keep it on the ground. Panthers, huge hole up the middle, spinning, and they're going to mark him down at the 1. Darrell Robinson on the carry.
Just a little short. If you look at your picture, look at that defensive line right there from DeSoto. They got their hands on their hips. That's football language for I'm tired. And that big old offensive line for St. Francis, they're asserting their will early in this ball game.
And another opportunity, and in for the touchdown. Panthers keep it on the ground. And that time, Darrell Robinson with the touchdown behind the big road graders up front, doing their job to a T.
Very impressive. They hit all their passes, their runs going forward. They're never moving backwards. Really impressive drive right there from St. Francis. And this upcoming possession from DeSoto, I think it's pretty important. They need to get a couple of first downs because this defensive front from DeSoto, as big as they are and as good as they are, St. Francis is literally 6'5", 310 across the front, and you need a little bit of a break playing against that.
Again, going for 2 are the Panthers, and they will have it. Lowers the shoulder, and in is Van Buren, and a flex from number 3. Why not? The quarterback showing the toughness.
Absolutely, and when your quarterback, you know, he's the leader of the offense anyway, but when your quarterback has that one-on-one situation and a tackle, and they don't dance and they don't juke and they go out of bounds and they choose to lower their head and truck somebody, you know, that's infectious, contagious right there. That toughness, that it feeds, it gets everybody going on that team, and you can see they are fired up over there on that Panther sideline.
They are indeed. After conceding the early touchdown, it has been 16 unanswered for the Panthers. 2 touchdowns, 2 successful 2-point conversions. They have this lead with 2:32 remaining in the quarter.
And it would really help DeSoto. And the reason why I say this, you know, I'm a former defensive coordinator. I can tell, you know, when you see the chance of a defense to kind of get tired early, and it's really hard. You got to remember on a defense has to run full speed all the time. You know, if you're a wide receiver on the backside of a running play, you may not have to go full speed on that block, but you've got to run full speed all the time on defense, and it would be really helpful if the DeSoto offense could at least get to the quarter and get a break.
Darian Smith to send it back to the Eagles from their own 20. And up to the 25, no further. That is where Darius Bailey and the Eagles offense will come out. And Lane, to your previous point, the Eagles, they have not picked up a first down.
No, they didn't. Their first possession was from the 2-yard line. And they scored on their second play. They went 3 and out on their next possession. Again, I think whatever you do versus St. Francis, you're going to need to do it quickly. I don't know how much time you're going to have to stand back there and run long crossing routes and deep passes. And I think also DeSoto's got great athletes too. I think quick passes, getting them the ball in space and letting their athlete make plays is a good idea as well.
We've seen Cook, we've seen Wisner. They will keep it on the ground. Will the Eagles? They certainly have the caliber.
And I really like that play right there. I see team speed, and I think the way you beat that is you got to go straight at it and attack it, just like they did on that play.
Little underneath quick hitter, and as you said, the Eagles able to pick up a first down, a reception from Dalen Jones, the senior wide receiver.
And again, quick play up the middle, quick play to the slot receiver. That's what you need to do. There you go again.
Here they come, first down and more. Eagles putting the Panthers defense on their heels for the first time tonight, breaking through. DeAndre Ridden Jr.
And you got to hit them quick. And I really like this. I like what they're doing on offense here. Let's go quick. Let's go vertical. Let's get moving.
Fake the handoff to number 22, and another quick hitter underneath to Dalen Jones. And that one comes out. Panthers with it. Jones comes up, palms to the sky. And the Panthers recover the fumble. So just when it looked like the Eagles were going to have a bit of momentum, St. Francis snatches it right back.
And that play was right on the sideline. Our view was blocked by the players. Couldn't quite tell what happened, but DeSoto on the sideline lobbying heavily that he was down, and that ball came out late. And St. Francis all too happy to take it. And I was saying they really needed DeSoto to get a couple of first downs. What they did, try to get you to the quarter so you get that extended break for the defense, but unfortunately caught the ball up, and that defense that was already looking a little winded towards the end of that last drive. By the St. Francis Panthers. Well, they're right back out there. It's only 1 minute that's run off the game clock since they were on there last.
Van Buren and the Panthers offense back out on the field. 95 seconds remaining in the quarter. Van Buren steps up and he's hit. Sacked for a loss of 5.
There you go. What a response right there. What a response. Good job on the back end by that secondary. Obviously, the quarterback couldn't get the ball out as quickly as he wanted to. Good job with that relentless rush up front, led by number 48, Jason Douglas, from that defensive tackle, that 3 technique, getting a good push up the center.
Again to the ground go the Panthers, and here they come. They'll pull it all back. First down to the 40. The 30, pushed out of bounds at the 22-yard line. Darrell Robinson has a touchdown to his name and almost took that one to the house for his second.
And what a fantastic block by the left guard from St. Francis. Absolutely blew his defensive lineman off the ball, and a gigantic hole for him to run through.
When it looked like the Panthers were behind the chains, one rush from Robinson, and they are back in business. First and 10 from the 24. And back they go with Robinson. Excuse me, that was DeJuan Williams, rather. A change of pace back as number 24 picks up 1.
Good job coming in from that defensive end position. Keyshawn Jackson there, number 12. Making sure that that play didn't get going, because we've seen the kind of explosive speed Darrell Robinson has at running back, and you certainly don't want to let that guy get 3 or 4 steps into the play. Otherwise, he's going to hit you for a big one.
The first quarter comes to a close. The Panthers on top and looking for more. St. Francis leading DeSoto 16-7 here in the I-20 Classic live from Clark Stadium in Fort Worth and only on Flow Football. DeSoto having their hands full with one of the top teams in the country, St. Francis. The Panthers leading 16-7 and on the move. and Michael Van Buren and company. Van Buren again takes to the air and has a man diving catch, touchdown Panthers.
Receiver like that with that much talent, the ability to get the ball from pretty much anywhere, he will certainly make a good coach out of you, that's for sure.
Workman making it look, I won't say easy, but he made something spectacular look easy for him. And they will go for two again, will the Panthers. They will go for two again, will the Panthers, and they've got it again.
The game, you want to follow the football and whatnot, but if you get a chance, go ahead and watch left guard number 65, Randy Lowe, 6'1", 305. He just blocked the defensive lineman from DeSoto to the back of the end zone and dumped him on his back. And I've watched him the last few plays. That big run that we saw, one of the many big runs from Robinson, they're coming behind that left guard, 65. So I'm going to keep my eye on him for the game because so far he is definitely winning his battle versus the DeSoto defensive line.
Wayne, we mentioned it early in that last drive for DeSoto that they needed some first downs, they needed some positive momentum, and most importantly, they needed to give their defense some time to rest. This is indeed the case, and this score may be starting to get away from St. Francis or from DeSoto. This is a very important drive here for the Eagles.
I agree, and I think you saw the success that DeSoto had. Vertical runs, and by that I mean, runs that hit in between the tackles and hit quickly, quick passes. That stuff was working for DeSoto. What happened to them is they fumbled the ball. So if you don't fumble the ball, I think they know what they need to do to be successful. They just got to make sure they can execute it at a little higher level.
Again, the Eagles there able to come up with that one. Ja'Shawn Wofford on the spot, and it'll be great starting field position for the Eagles. They've been in this situation more than once, but they have to turn it into something.
And I think that tells you that St. Francis feels pretty darn good about their defense because they've had 3 kickoffs and 2 of them have been on sides, and that is basically a message from the Panther coaching staff to Coach Mathis. Hey, we don't think you can move the ball against us. We're not afraid to give it to you at midfield.
As this going for 2 at every opportunity. And tripped up, flying in was number 2. Blake Woodby with the tackle.
Looks like we got a flag on the field here. Let's see if we can get this cleared up and explained.
It's going to go against DeSoto, holding on the Eagles.
So that'll bring up 1st and 20. And the last time we saw this, when you got into, it was 2nd and long for DeSoto. So when we
Wisner in the backfield as the running back alongside Bailey. Bailey takes to the air, looking down, has a man, and flags come flying in from all angles.
I think that's a pretty clear call right there. That's going to go against number 13, Cameron Howard, in the defensive back. That'll be 15 yards in the first, but I do like the play call. It's not a quick short pass, it's a quick long pass. The key word is getting rid of that ball quickly.
Dalen Jones, the intended target. As you so correctly said, DeSoto had success in their previous drive when they were moving quickly. You give that Panthers defense time to tee off. Good luck.
Yep, quick hitting plays, quick hitting run, quick hitting pass, protect the football, and DeSoto's going to be just fine.
2 receivers to the top, 2 to the bottom for the Eagles. And Bailey steps up, now flushed out of the pocket. Underneath, has a man, and he makes the catch. Crimson Mathis here on the near sideline.
And that's a really good job by Bailey. The most impressive part of that play, again, it's always tough for that quarterback. He's running to the left, but he throws with his right hand. And he sets his feet, throws a really good pass to Mathis. Mathis also doing a good job coming back to his quarterback and helping him out when he's under duress.
1st and 10 for the Eagles.
Just really impressed how quickly Bailey flipped his feet to get set on that last play. That's a big time throw right there.
Ball on the Panthers 33. Panthers making some adjustments in formation. Bailey flushed out again, will take off. Bailey hit from behind, and they are going to mark him at the 23. Nice run from the quarterback.
And similar to the last drive, DeSoto had some success. They were able to move the ball. They're able to move the ball right here. They protect the football. Don't get any more of those penalties. They got to break on that pass interference, bailing them out. But again, they're going to be fine. They're a talented team. They got a great coaching staff. They just need to, you don't need to abandon the game plan just yet. You're still in it. Just do what you do.
The Eagles will take a timeout. 10:56 remaining into the half as they trail 22-7, but on the move. 1st and 10 at the edge of the red zone.
Good job. They're getting their defense some rest here, getting their defense a chance to get over on the sideline, make some adjustments. We talked about Coach Mathis and the success that he's had. Kind of a little bit of a hero of mine. He and I are close to the same age, and he grew up about an hour from my hometown. And of course, our local paper covered him and his exploits as a running back for Bartlett, and of course had a fantastic career at Texas State. It was Southwest Texas State back when he was playing, and when it was all said and done, he was the leading all-time rusher of the Southland Conference. So good former running back, exceptional molder of young men, and really a good human being, Coach Mathis.
I had the opportunity to speak with him this week, and he is an absolute class act, and he has been a great coach across the Lone Star State. Now he's found a permanent home in DeSoto. Bailey underneath, incomplete. KP Price there in pass coverage, blanketing the receiver.
Good escapability there by Bailey. There wasn't really anything there. He did a good job staying in the pocket. Eventually got a little sidearm throw off. Athletic, good. I really do like athletic quarterbacks that always look to make a play with their arm and then use their feet as a last ditch effort.
Again, pressure comes up the middle. So incomplete, looking for Crimson Mathis. As you heard the public address announcer, 3rd and 7 for the Eagles. Bailey has a man. It should be enough for the first down. Again, Crimson Mathis there on the catch.
2 catches in a row there by Mathis. I do believe that is going to be enough to move the chains. Good job, good execution from DeSoto. Calm, cool, collective. They played in plenty of big games before. What do we got here?
I must admit, Lane, I did not see the false start against the Eagles there.
Usually when you see a false start, it's after the quarterback has started his cadence of some type, but apparently it obviously happened pretty quick. The ref's going to get that one right and moving back 5.
That is a big 5-yard loss, and quickly underneath, able to find Dalen Jones.
In order for plays like that to work, those wide receivers, they got to make sure they're out there blocking on the edge. And number 13, Cedric Harden Jr., kind of missed his block a little bit on that cornerback from St. Francis. And cornerback did a good job coming up, making a sure tackle in the open play. But when you get out on the edge, you get out on the perimeter, everyone's got to block.
Pressure on Bailey, able to step up. Makes the completion somehow. He was going down and still able to find Cedric Harden Jr.
That's the 3rd or 4th impressive pass I've seen from Bailey so far. He stepped up on one time and it was incomplete, but he got it off, and right there with everybody in the world hanging around, he just doesn't seem to get rattled back there.
Bailey again, pressure. Able to link up with Harden Jr., the intended target.
And good, steady, as you said, steady pressure coming from that St. Francis defensive front. they're not necessarily getting to him for the sacks, but every quarterback's, they've got that internal clock that lets them know when it's getting close. And they're making Bailey throw sooner than he would like to, and nothing's easy for him back there.
Ridden as the running back. Pressure on Bailey, and Bailey is blasted, throws this one up, and intercepted in the end zone by number 7, Ife. Odimegwu able to come down with it, and you can chalk that up to the pressure on Darius Bailey.
Absolutely. They ran a little exit stunt up there at the top where the end comes in and the tackle goes out. And that takes a lot of communication from the right guard and the right tackle to pick that up and pass those guys off. They didn't. And you had that defensive end running in free and all in the face of Bailey, forcing that errant throw. That defensive back, he's going to get the interception. He's going to show up in the box score. But credit to that defensive line game right there, getting the pressure.
Back to the rushing attack. It'll be a gain of 2. But it's been a steady dose of number 11, and Darrell Robinson, he just needs a sliver of space, and he is off to the races.
He is, and that last set, DeSoto had the ball for a little bit. Maybe the defense going to get a little bit of a second wind here and be able to get St. Francis to punt.
Man in motion. Another handoff. Making his way up just shy of the 30. Again, Robinson with the carry.
I'm trying to think of when I've seen a back quite as good as Robinson. I mean, that ball, that he should have been down. He should have been down at the line of scrimmage, and he just floats. It's just so effortless, little jump cut, and what should have been nothing. You know, it's 5, 6, 7 yards. He's a good one.
Robinson again with the carry, first down, and up to the 34, the 37 is where they'll mark him. He's a home run hitter. We've seen a few times in space what he can do.
That offensive line picking up where they left off on that last drive. Really making it so that running back, he's not really touched for a few yards most of the time.
Rolling out Van Buren. Incomplete.
Trying to run a comeback route right there. You can see the DeSoto defensive back, the corner, complaining to the ref that he was pushed off on, which happens a lot more than it ever gets called. And you know, kid, I am biased towards the defense. I think the offensive, they're a bunch of cheaters over there, but you see a lot of stuff from a wide receiver that would get called as pass interference if a defensive back was doing it.
I know you're biased. I've just never heard you admit it so freely.
Oh, that's all right. I admit it.
This is going to go against the Panthers. Another flag comes in with 7:54 remaining in the half. And St. Francis just methodical in offense. They know what they want to do. They execute. Sure, Coach
methodical, yeah. Methodical is a good term. They're methodical, except everyone that touches the ball is so explosive. It goes from methodical to, 50 yards in the blink of an eye.
You have the kind of talent they do. It takes very little to take it to the house. Again, Van Buren behind his intended target. He was looking for Ryan Manning.
Trying to hit another little skinny post right there, coming in from that outside receiver, and that's a good route. Your outside receiver, he's running a post. He really has an entire third of the field to work with because that D-back's going to stay over the top of it. A D-back undercutting a post is you better get an interception or it's going the distance. So unless DeSoto drops someone back in the hole, reading the eyes of the quarterback, that post may continue to be there for the rest of the night.
Williams and Harris in the backfield. It's going to be Harris who gets the carry. 4th and 10, decision time coming for the Panthers. It appears that they will punt it away.
That's a good job by DeSoto right there. That right defensive end did a great job. He got some penetration up the field enough to make the running back cut back up, and the linebacker was there to clean it up, and that's going to be big for DeSoto. They can't give up the edge with the speed that St. Francis has carrying the ball.
See if DeSoto was able to get the substitution off in time. It does not appear that they were. A player trying to run off the field, and that ball was snapped.
And I think DeSoto got a timeout called. Yeah, they got a timeout called before they were able to get that ball snapped. Otherwise, that would have been a penalty. So, heads up by Coach Mathis there.
So DeSoto, 2 timeouts remaining. Likewise, 2 timeouts remaining for St. Francis with 7:13 remaining in the second quarter. St. Francis on top, 22-7 here on Flow Football. Glad to have you with us, wherever you may be joining us from. Our second game in the I-20 Classic from Clark Stadium in Fort Worth. Duncanville taking down Jones 44-21 in our Texas versus Florida battle earlier. Right now, it's the men from Maryland having the better of those from the Lone Star State here.
And we'll see again if DeSoto can come out. Their last 2 drives, they moved the ball. It was a fumble on one. It was an interception on the next one. They're really close. They just got to get it into the house.
DeSoto will field this at the 34, blasted but able to stay on his feet, but headed the wrong way is the Eagle return man. The Eagles will start things at their own 24. Marion Ravenel took a shot on the return.
And that was a good job by number 7, Ravenel, not actually fumbling on that play, because whenever your eyes, they're up there tracking that ball the whole time. And as soon as it hits your chest, when you get blasted like that, it's real easy to lose that ball and fumble. So a fine play by that young man on your screen right there.
DeSoto just south of Dallas here in the DFW Metroplex, making the very quick trip over to Fort Worth. Not such a quick trip for the Panthers, but as we mentioned earlier, I don't think they have any issues traveling. It does not appear to be something they shy away from. They're 8,000 miles combined in travel coming this season.
Now, if you have a problem with airplanes, you do not need to attend St. Francis Academy, that's for sure.
This one pulled down. What a catch. Chauncey Cook, the second, future Texas Longhorn, shows off the hops.
And I owe him an apology, because I was going to say that ball too high and carried him out of bounds, but he made that play. Great job.
It's going to be a good one on the 40 acres. And a little rush here up across the 45, the 50, and out of bounds goes DeAndre Ridden Jr.
Good run right there, all the way, starting on one side, getting all the way the other. Good job by the offensive line. Got a flag. Oh, man. Boy, that's tough right there. Okay, we had 2 flags in the offset, so we're going to replay the down. Again, it's kind of been a theme, unfortunately, this first half for DeSoto. They kind of get something going, and then they get a turnover, they get an untimely penalty, something like that. Those mistakes always magnified when you're playing an opponent that's a very high caliber like they are tonight.
Again to the air and able to come down with it. What a grab from Cedric Harden Jr.
And that is a bullet from Bailey to Cedric Harden Jr. in the tightest possible window. What an incredible throw. You know, we've seen it before. He's not rattled. He's back there. He's calm. He's cool. And that is an absolute dart. And another. Again, as soon as they get something going, they shoot themselves in the foot, and that's going to be another false start. Or is it going to go against St. Francis?
Sean Hand trying to argue it was against the Eagles, but it's going to be against the Panthers.
My apologies to the DeSoto offensive line. They did their job correctly. They were on sides.
Bailey steps up, but he's hit from behind. Could not get away, and it is number 15, Mr. Hand, the future Bayou Bengal there.
Deshaun Womack right there. He got underneath the right tackle from DeSoto, dumped the right tackle on his backside, and came in and made the sack. Big time.
And a great response there, Ridden Jr. with the carry.
And I really like it. This quick hitting stuff up the middle, it seems to be the ticket. And
on cue, just when it looked like DeSoto had some momentum, they turn it right back over. And the Panthers force another turnover. There is a flag down. And it's going to go against the Panthers, so hold on here.
Ball should remain with DeSoto because that would have been an infraction before the snap of the ball. So they are going to keep hold of the football.
Well, the Panthers, with an infraction of their own, give it right back. Eagles dodge one there, and they have to make something of it, and trying to run up the middle, nothing doing. Womack in amongst the bodies, as was big number 58, James Carrington.
Nothing doing up the middle, but that's it. That's been their recipe for success, DeSoto running up the middle. So good for them for sticking with it.
And another handoff again between the tackles goes the ball carrier. Ryan Sims III and Rochelle Vaughn's on the tackle.
And that's why you stick with it. It's 1 yard gain the first play, but then you get one for 6.
And the Eagles think they have found something here, and right now it is a power run game. They're trying to keep that Panthers defense honest.
Looks like we got a player down. Maybe a DeSoto. Kind of hard to see. He's being blocked out by that giant offensive line from the DeSoto Eagles.
4:09 remaining in the half.
Looks like that's number 58, Leon Brigham.
Good to see him able to come off under his own power. Lane with an entire second half to play. This is a huge drive from DeSoto. Remember, they fumbled it, but a penalty by the Panthers gave it back, and the drive able to stay alive for the Eagles, and they need points.
And DeSoto's been moving the ball. I mean, they're going to have a sizable amount of yardage here in the first half. They just got to get some points.
Bailey, handoff. Again, a Ridden Jr. there, but very little. Trying to find space against that defensive line is tough sledding.
It is, but they're 4 yards a carry, and you're going to score. You're going to get first downs at 4 yards a play as we get to 3rd and short here.
3rd and 2. Bailey to the air, has a man looking for the corner, and just too far.
All right, so here we go, decision time. I think I know what DeSoto's probably going to do. It's going to be 4th and short. You would expect that they would go for it, especially if they're getting 2-3 yards a run. It looks like all they're going to need is maybe a long 2 here.
Bailey and the offense remaining on the field for the Eagles. Getting the sign from the coaching staff. The Eagle fans on their feet. 4th and 2.
I'm expecting 22 up the middle. Maybe even a timeout here. They're going to talk about it maybe. Yep.
That is exactly what they do. Is DeSoto will take their 2nd timeout of the half.
I think that's really good decision. This is a big play in this ball game. You talk about scoring and getting it down to a 1-score game. you definitely want to make sure that everybody's on the same page and you got the exact play in you want.
3:48 remaining in the half. DeSoto 4th and 2, and maybe the biggest play since that game opening kickoff that the Eagles almost took back to the house.
And DeSoto, they deserve a score. They've done what they need to do to move the football. They just got to take that last step and get some points to get that ball into the end zone, because points are going to be at a premium this evening. I can't imagine that, St. Francis isn't going to score one or two more because of the talent they have on that offensive side. So I think this is a really, really big play. I would definitely say the biggest play of the first half for sure here for DeSoto.
Sean Van Mergel, the offensive coordinator for the Eagles. What does he have drawn up? They need 2. It's going to be close. They may not have gotten it. I don't think they did.
No, I think they needed right around the 20, and I think that's maybe a half-yard gain, maybe no gain at all. Quarterback running the ball. I would have liked to have seen it gone to their workhorse running back, Wrighton Jr., who's been having such a good game, getting north and south. Give it to the best runner on the team in that situation, rather than using him as a lead blocker. Of course, all that's easy from up here in the booth. It's easy to make those sort of decisions, but big hold right there for St. Francis. 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Plenty of time for them to get it in the own zone for another score.
Big turnover on downs. Panthers looking for more. Robinson hit at the line of scrimmage and wrapped up. It is rare that they've been able to stop number 11 in his tracks tonight.
And that's going to be number 30. Jashawn Wofford coming in from his linebacker position, or defensive end, excuse me. Really fine play. Tackling that running back one-on-one, that takes some doing.
Again, Panthers keeping it on the ground, around the side and out of bounds.
We're going to get a horse collar tackle on this.
We certainly are. As Mekhi Workman comes off an obvious hitch in his gait from the star wide receiver. Workman being looked at by the trainers. He was trying to limp over toward the Panthers sideline. The Panthers, they don't need any help, but they've got some here. The horse collar tackle has moved them all the way up to the 42.
You can see he's still limping off the field. Hope he's okay.
Robinson, the man in motion. Van Buren looking for it all, has a man. And Manning just couldn't come down with it.
Broken up by DeMichael Porter. Great job. Good job tracking the ball all the way in. Also a great job by the right defensive tackle. Put an excellent move on the left guard from St. Francis. Really put pressure on the quarterback. Hit him right as he was releasing the ball. Van Buren really couldn't step into that and get quite all he could on it.
Underneath and blasted the Eagles there immediately. Chamarion Ravenel like a bullet.
Oh my goodness. You want to talk about getting your team fired up, getting the whole town fired up with a hit like that. We got a flag on the play. We'll see what it ends up being. Against St. Francis, obviously DeSoto's going to decline that because they're going to pick up a loss on the play anyway. Gets them in 3rd and long, and really 2 drives in a row now. DeSoto's done a good job getting St. Francis into 3rd and long here. See if they can force another punt. Seems like maybe they've settled down a little bit, the DeSoto defense here. Of course, they're getting a little bit of a rest because their offense is getting a few first downs, and that always helps.
And just like that, the Panthers responding into Eagle territory. Big carry there from DeJuan Williams.
And, you know, that's a missed tackle. No credit taken from the running back. It was a good, strong run from Williams, but the Eagles had two guys there. They should have tackled him about somewhere maybe around the 45-yard line. Instead, he got it almost to the 50. It's fourth and really short. And St. Francis, again, really believing in their defense, and looks like they're going to go for this one.
They will indeed. Clock ticking down, 2 minutes and counting remaining here in the half. The Panthers will take a timeout, their second of the half.
And we'll see out of this timeout if they decide they still want to go for it. You give them obviously a short field if you don't get it. And DeSoto has shown on offense that they've got a little bit of life, that they can move the ball. It's not really reflecting on the scoreboard because they're not really getting any in for touchdowns, but we'll see if coach changes his mind here, decides to punt it away and play it a little safe here. They do get the ball coming out first in the second half, St. Francis, so may decide to give Soto the long field.
As good as this Panther team is, and obviously they've lived up to the billing, I won't say it's hype because it is not. It's simply reality. But DeSoto has not been phased, and you would expect them to be. Claude Mathis, one of the great coaches. They played in one of the toughest fixtures in Texas. And they knew it was going to be a tough task, but that's the reason you want to play teams like this.
No, and what I've seen from DeSoto, you're absolutely right, Kit. What I'm seeing is ill-timed turnover, ill-timed penalty, things like that. They're not getting physically whipped, physically embarrassed, or anything even close to that. They're playing extremely well. The difference is they've got 2 turnovers and St. Francis doesn't have any, and that's the big difference so far in the ball game.
Turnovers are a killer, that much we know. Eagles, did they jump? Doesn't appear so. And a hit in the backfield. Great penetration from the Eagles defensive line. And DeSoto is fired up.
I tell you what, that was a great play. That is pure cat and mouse from the DeSoto defensive coordinator. You had that defensive line, they lined up in a 3 technique. That's the outside shoulder of the guard. Then right before the snap, they all shifted one gap to the inside. They instantaneously changed who they have to block, that St. Francis offensive line. They don't pick it up. They get penetration and a huge stop on 4th down.
Turned over, back to Bailey and the Eagles. Quick hitter, Crimson Mathis with the completion. And right you are, Eagles defensive coordinator Kyle Coates. Impressive play call there on 4th down.
That was really good. Just totally disrupted the blocking scheme right before the snap. Great play call.
DeSoto, just over a minute remaining in the half. Can they find points? And this one is low. Couldn't pull it off the shoestrings.
I think they are trying to set up a little bit of a sort of a bubble screen concept there on the outside. They let those St. Francis defensive players through, and the offensive line was down there releasing to block. The problem is St. Francis got to Bailey just a little bit too quickly, and he underthrew the ball out there to his running back, so they couldn't quite get that play set up.
Big 3rd and 5 coming, a minute 24 left in the first half. Pressure, and Bailey is sacked. Brought down by number 8, Samuel Green.
And something didn't quite seem right there because Samuel Green was rushing against Jaden Trawick, number 8. And I can't imagine that you would ask a running back or a wide receiver, sort of an H-back, to block a defensive end like that out on the edge. That seemed kinds of odd. So maybe there was a call that was supposed to be made between that offensive tackle from DeSoto and number 8 that didn't quite happen, but something just seemed a little off there.
DeSoto back on their side of halfway stripe.
kind of like in the NFL, you know, where you see some tight end that's out there trying to block T.J. Watt or something like that, and it just doesn't seem to add up right. Looks like DeSoto's taking their final timeout here. Guess they didn't like something. Looks like they're going to punt. Looks like they didn't quite have something lined up the way they wanted it.
They will indeed. So 37 seconds remaining in the half. Eagles take their final timeout. Again, glad to have you with us here at Clark Stadium in Fort Worth. Alongside Lane Grigg, I'm Kit McConico. Lane, game 2 in our doubleheader.
You know, and kind of thinking of wrapping up this first half, I think you go into halftime as DeSoto, and quite honestly, you know, your Coach Mathis, you face your team, and you're like, you know, all we got to do is execute, and we're going to be just fine. And then that's really all it takes. You know, we got to go and we got to execute at a higher level, and everything's going to go okay for us.
Wayne, you said it really, the 2 turnovers, that's the difference in the ball game. The Eagles, a good punt, will take a DeSoto bounce inside the 10 and down to the 7-yard line.
You know, and you really look at turnovers on offense that hurt you, and on defense, you know, 9 times out of 10 when someone scores on defense, you're looking for missed tackles, and you're looking for busted coverages, something like that, because the defensive coordinator, and you know, it's their job to get the players in the right position, and it's players' job that's got to make the play. So you look at those 2 things, and you know, you get that stuff cleaned up, and you're okay. And you know, if a team makes a play against you on offense and they make a good throw and a good catch, well, you can take that. I mean, they work hard. They've got good players too. But really, those turnovers and a penalty here and there, that's been the difference in this first half.
Van Buren will take a knee. Panthers content to go into half with this 22-7 lead. An entertaining first half between St. Francis Academy of Baltimore and DeSoto from here in the DFW Metroplex. Halftime, we'll take a break on Flow Football. Back for half number 2 in our I-20 Classic doubleheader game 2. On Flow Football, the Panthers lead the Eagles 22-7 at the break.
Good opportunity now to do the contestants today. Sodas, popcorn, and a whole lot more.
the pride of DeSoto, the Eagle Band. The band of the future of take one and up on three. This year we are playing the marching program and it's not on money. The DeSoto will take you on a journey of lost sound and inspirational solo teaching the music of Samuel Mark, Carl Over, and Kurt Franklin. Music will travel through the world of classical, jazz, gospel, and symphonic band. This evening they'll be performing two parts of the performance show featuring two performers online, Noah Snowball. Ladies and gentlemen, the DeSoto Eagle Band. DeSoto band performing the Kentucky DeSoto World of Excellence. They band also completed a successful year last year, performing as a featured performance group for the HBCU Band Records Convention in Atlanta, Georgia, and also in the 2022 UL Music Awards. Congratulations, band. You are going to continue to follow the band as your show protects throughout the season. Outstanding band members of the week are Makala and Rohania and Iron Young. This week's section is the saxophone section. Keep up the hard work, everyone. Trumpeters will be working band are Miss Penny Thompson, Mr. Brian Ross, Miss Ashley Clan, Miss Glenn Henderson, and Mr. Helena. Director of band for the DeSoto Independent School is Mr. Delton Brown.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you there is still time to head on out to the north end of the stadium and visit the I-20 Classic venue. Leo's food truck serving hamburgers, nachos, and wings. No cones, gone wild. Along with turns, Chicago-style barbecue, turkey leg, ribs, steamed hot dog, and all that more. Just stop by. certificates for the classes will be happening on October 1st at the Cotton Bowl. A special performance at 4 o'clock at Chevy Stadium with Grammy Award winner Ashanti. The new time for the figure classes is going to be 6 p.m. Doors are open at 5. And you can get your tickets now at SaveTheirClassicFootball.com or ALWC.com.
Welcome back as we get ready for the start of half number 2 here at Clark Stadium in Fort Worth, Texas. It's the I-20 Classic, Game 2 in today's doubleheader, as we have the number 3 ranked St. Francis Academy Panthers taking on the DeSoto Eagles. Alongside Lane Grigg, I'm Kit McConico. Lane, our first game, we saw an impressive victory from Duncanville. The Panthers taking down the Jones Fighting Tigers out of Florida, 44-21. In this game, well, it has been a back-and-forth affair. DeSoto looks like they were down early after finding that opening touchdown, but they showed signs of life at the end of that first half, and we'll see what they have to start the second.
Absolutely. Plenty of signs of life. Just a turnover here or there that's really hurt them from having more points, and this could hurt here.
It could indeed. The Panthers are going to take this one all the way back. The opening kickoff of half number 2, and the Panthers waste no time. St. Francis Academy like a cannon to start half number 2, and the Panthers, Kevin Humes takes it the length of the field.
And I was going to say before the kickoff, DeSoto in the halftime talking about needing to execute a little bit better, and well, that's a gut punch right there, because I honestly felt that DeSoto, other than a few miscues, really could have been in this game. You know, they had the 2 turnovers and whatnot, and was expecting them in the second half to kind of come out and calm down a little bit, and really a really bad start right there. Taking it to the house, Kevin Humes, and boy, exactly the worst thing that could be happening for DeSoto, but looks like there may have been a penalty.
There may well have been, and we will see. It appears that this is going to come back, so a penalty will bring it all the way back. And Lane, remember the opening kickoff of the ball game, DeSoto almost took it to the house as they took it all the way down to the 2-yard line. And this is going to come back, a block in the back against the Panthers. So what they thought was a kick return for a touchdown instead is going to be 1st and 10 from their own 10.
And that is a 90-yard and 6-point penalty right there.
How do the Panthers respond after giving up that massive penalty? Darrell Robinson bounces off would-be tacklers and able to turn that into something positive. Magical play from number 11.
And we saw that plenty in the first half. Darrell Robinson looks like he's going to be stopped for loss or no gain, and before you know it, he's done a couple of jump cuts, and he's got 2 yards out what it really should have been a loss of 1 on the play, and actually maybe even closer to 4 yards.
2nd and 7 again. They keep it on the ground with Robinson. Another short gain, bring up 3rd and medium.
Good job right there, coming up real quick from the safety position to Michael Porter, reading his keys very quickly, dissecting that it's a run and getting into that run fit, lightning fast, setting up a 3rd and short here for the St. Francis Panthers.
Right, you are 3rd and 2 for Michael Van Buren and his Panthers. And they're trying to keep this one on the ground. It is going to be short of that 1st down marker, and it is going to be 4th and inches for the Panthers.
Now this will test your mettle right here as a coach. Statistics say you've been running the ball pretty good all night, and you could get a half yard, but you're up 22-7, and if you don't get this, I mean, I get it. I understand what Coach Hylamariam's doing here. But boy, this could be an all-time backfire coming up right here. Let's see if defensive coordinator Aaron Babineau does that little jump with that front line again, see if he can get them to back up 5.
Robinson threw the 1st down, still on his feet across the 35, up to the 38-yard line. And excuse me, that was Tawan Williams, rather. So used to see number 11, but it was number 24 that time with the big run.
And I don't think there's any issue there. He got that 1st down and about 15 more yards.
Ground attack continues, and it will continue with Williams. 3 yards in a cloud of dust there on 1st.
Good block at the point of attack by the right guard. That's going to be number 69, Logan Bennett. All 6 feet 5 inches and 305 pounds of them. You could certainly see how he could push a defensive lineman back.
Williams stays in the backfield, does number 24, Van Buren. A few words to his offensive line. 2nd and 4, Van Buren rolls out. Has a man complete for the 1st down. No, intercepted. Eagles with it. And the takeaway by DeSoto. Keyshawn Jackson, the senior linebacker, with the INT.
Looks like the refs are saying it's a fumble. St. Francis lobbying hard against it, saying the ground caused it. It looks like it's going to stick with the Eagles, and good job. Defense coming out at halftime, bowing their neck, playing tough. They gave up that short 1st down, but getting the turnover here, and great field position. We'll see if DeSoto can execute. Again, stay away from the fumble, stay away from the interceptions. They've moved the ball okay.
Lane, if this stands, this is going to be the first forced turnover of the game by DeSoto after they gave up 2 in the 1st half.
And the big thing was, St. Francis converted those into points, and DeSoto's going to, of course, they need to do that. And a flag was just thrown. Let's get the explanation for this.
And the St. Francis offense is back out on the field.
Exactly.
You can see Jonte Cook and his offensive counterparts for the Eagles. They were trotting out there ready to take over 1st and 10.
I'm feeling that there was probably a verbal protest of some nature from a DeSoto player that the official didn't exactly take kindly towards. Is going to be my best guess on that, because it certainly wasn't a late hit or anything along those lines. So by process of elimination, that's kind of about all you're left with.
This is a huge turn of events,
Yep.
Lane, as DeSoto thought they had it after the fumble recovery.
And had it near midfield with great field position.
Right you are.
And not only was it not a fumble, it's 15 yards further down the field.
Here Van Buren back out at the 30. Robinson continues one over the head. Robinson all the way down to the 15 and into the red zone go the Panthers. Earl Robinson, take a bow, young man.
He's as good a running back as I've seen in recent memory. 6'1", 200 pounds. He runs like he's closer to 220, but he makes cuts like he's 165. He's the total package.
Again to Robinson, keeps it on the ground and will eke out a gain of 2.
You know, and another thing that he does that's the mark of any good running back, you know, you're looking really for two things. Number one, you got to make one guy miss, okay, because the defense always has a one-man advantage. So you got to make that one guy miss, because there's one guy that you can't account for in the blocking scheme on defense. And the other thing is, are you always falling forward? I mean, even if you get hit at the line of scrimmage, are you falling forward? Instead of getting stopped, are you going forward for one or two? And he does every time.
We've seen him hit in the backfield. He still comes up with positive gains somehow. Is Michael Van Buren able to get back to the line of scrimmage, but nothing more.
DeSoto with good pressure, bringing two guys off of that right side there, the right side of the St. Francis Panthers offense. Running back did a pretty good job of picking up the block, but the pocket got collapsed pretty early, forcing the quarterback to step up, and the coverage did their job on the back end of it, and it was a sack.
3rd and 10. Van Buren, the Eagles look to bring pressure. Van Buren behind his man. DeSoto, are they able to come up with the INT? No, Eagles almost had the pick.
Almost picked off by number 2, Cayman Mathis, with a great play. And I think from what we've seen so far, we haven't seen St. Francis attempt any sort of point after attempt, and certainly not a field goal, so you think they're probably going to go for it here.
Be 4th and almost 10, and they indeed will go for it deep inside DeSoto territory. Van Buren out of the shotgun, has a man, and this is incomplete. Turned over on downs, and the Eagles back with it after their defense stands strong.
Good job. St. Francis has hit a couple of those skinny post, or sometimes they're called a glance route. Good job by the cornerback playing that really, really close, and also safety sitting right there ready on that as well. So it's probably something that Coach Babineau talked about, one of the all-time greats for the University of Texas Longhorn, bringing in some of his expertise there, making adjustments at halftime, stopping that route that did hurt him a little bit there in that first half. So good adjustment on the coaching staff right there.
The Eagles defense does its job. Now we'll see if the offense can reward them after the stop. Darius Bailey takes to the air, unable to connect with his target. He was trying for Dalen Jones.
And that was another skinny post right there, and that route was open, just ball a little bit off and unable to connect it, and that's too bad, because that would have been good 10, 15-yard gain right there.
Inside a handoff, Wisner able to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Number 13, Cameron Howard, and number 15, Deshaun Womack there on the left side of that defense for the St. Francis Panthers, making sure that absolutely nothing happened on that play. You get penetration that quick in the backfield, and really it's going to be tough for any sort of offensive play to have any positive result on something like that.
Eagles from their own 15. Bailey, a man here to the near side, complete. And out of bounds after the catch, Crimson Mathis.
That's a big league throw right there from Bailey. That ball's in the air a long distance, and that ball was thrown with high velocity on a low trajectory. That's a sign of great arm strength.
Big third down conversion and a quick whistle.
I'm thinking that St. Francis may call a timeout because, yeah, they had all sorts of people coming on and coming off, and they were in all sorts of disarray right there on that play. So good timeout by St. Francis because they were not set. They were not ready to play that down.
6:39 remaining in the third. Panthers take their first time out of the half. St. Francis on top of DeSoto 22-7 here at Clark Stadium. Fort Worth Independent School District and DFW Metroplex. Wayne, we mentioned Duncanville impressive in their win earlier, and it bears repeating. They will be taking on this DeSoto side October 28th, Panther Stadium in Duncanville, and that is one, if you are in the vicinity, you want to mark your calendar because there are going to be some fireworks in that ball game.
Absolutely. That game's going to be worth the trip. That game is always one of the best high school games in the state of Texas, year in, year out. DeSoto, they've been good for a really long time. Duncanville, they've been a football power for a really long time, and anytime those teams get together, it's certainly worth the price of admission.
Coach Mathis there in the visor, fired up. We'll see. Crimson Mathis able to come away with the big first down. And here come the Panthers, and who else but number 15, Deshaun Womack with the sack.
He was in there in a hurry, and that right tackle, Elijah Garner, for the Eagles, just didn't quite get enough depth on his pass set. And when you don't get enough depth and you got a speed rush coming from a defensive end like Womack, that's going to make it pretty tough on you. So look for number 53 to kick step back a few steps a little bit quicker and give himself a better chance to block that edge rusher.
Second and long after the sack, trying to find any space is Bailey, and he goes down again at his own 10. Panthers bringing the heat.
And just nowhere for Bailey to go. Every time he looks up, you could see multiple times on that last play, he was trying to set his feet. He was trying to get a throw off, but every time he tried to get his left foot forward so he could get in a throwing position, he was having to dodge another St. Francis Panther rusher. And at the end of the day, too many times trying to set your feet and dancing around, and they got him in the end. It just, last two snaps, he's certainly been under duress. Credit to that defensive pass rush.
Third and very long for the Eagles. They will keep it on the ground, trying to pick up something. Ridner Jr. on the carry. Yonde Ridner Jr. able to get it up to the 20, and now the Eagles will have to punt it away.
And I think right there, you know, you're looking at just, we don't want to get a turnover. We're going to kind of punt and live to fight another day.
Maybe create a little room for your punter so his heels aren't on his own goal line. And they bring the heat, does St. Francis. Eagles able to get this one off and out of bounds. And we'll see where they mark it. As the Panthers offense back on the field, the 4:43 remaining in the third, and a 22-7 lead.
The defense back on the field after stopping St. Francis on a fourth down. Thought they had a turnover, but they didn't. Ended up going back to St. Francis. Again, that defense on the field a lot already. We saw them in the first half getting a little bit winded before DeSoto's offense could kind of get their feet underneath them. See if they can't bow their neck again right here for the Eagles.
Eagles defense has done their job by and large. Able to flush Van Buren out of the pocket. Has a man down the sideline and too far.
by and large, these cornerbacks on these just straight vertical routes where the wide receivers doing nothing but running straight down the field, they've done a good job being step for step with their wide receiving counterparts from St. Francis.
An Eagle down on the field. Trainer's out to take a look. 4:23 remaining in the third. Clock will stop. Again, you take a look at the upcoming schedule. DeSoto, they'll be at home September the 10th, taking on a South Oak Cliff Golden Bears side. And lost to Duncanville in their season opener a week ago. The defending 5A Division II state champions here in Texas. And for the Panthers of St. Francis Academy, they will get a week break before heading to Venice, Florida to take on Venice on September the 15th. One of their numerous out-of-state trips, as we said, Texas, Florida, and Hawaii on the itinerary this year for the Panthers.
I believe you did the math, Kit. You came up with a number somewhere around 8,000 miles to be traveled by St. Francis this football season.
I appreciate that. I let someone at the Baltimore Sun do the math on that one. I let that great journalistic staff do the work, and they said it was 8,000 miles of travel for that team, and I certainly trust them. When they talk about their team from East Baltimore, as you see Kalen Abrams able to come off under his own power, always a good sign.
Moving his left arm a little bit, probably fell on a little bit funny, but looks like he's going to be able to continue. Probably going to be back in on the next play.
And a whistle at the snap. It's going to go against the Panthers. Michael Van Buren, quarterback for St. Francis Academy, he was pretty succinct and to the point. He said, we're trying to win a national championship. That's the goal. They finished third last year in that USA Today poll. They want to be atop the standings, number one in the country. Talking about teams like Mater Dei and the team you and I have already seen, St. John Bosco, out of Bellflower, California. We actually saw them here in the Lone Star State as they came to take on Allen. And that is a very impressive Braves side led by Coach Jason Negro, and they put on a show when they came to Texas, absolutely taking the host to the woodshed.
I was really impressed with the defense of St. John Bosco. Their defensive line really incredibly large, and their linebackers, all their defensive backs are over 6 feet, which in high school is just absolutely unheard of. And they did certainly look the part, and I'm excited. We have them next week versus Central Catholic out of Portland, and looking forward to that game, looking forward to see that Bosco team again.
Yeah, they'll be at Autzen Stadium in Eugene, a pretty great venue for that one.
What a great opportunity for high school to be able to play in Autzen Stadium. And talk about something, a memory that's going to last a lifetime for a set of kids. That's really cool.
Home of the University of Oregon Ducks. It'll be home to two of the top high school teams in the country. It's Robinson again, Terrell Robinson. And every time it looks like he's going to be hit for a loss, he turns it into a gain of 3, 4, 5, or 10 yards.
And I apologize to the viewers for not having a bigger vocabulary, but I'm running out of things to say. I mean, every time I think he's going to be down for 2 yards, it's a couple stutter steps, and he gains 5, and he should have lost 2. Just phenomenally impressive.
Robinson continues to do what he has done all game. As this is complete, Panthers are going to take it in. DeSoto looked like they stopped, didn't think that was caught, or just gave up on the play, and Ryan Manning very happy to take it in for another Panthers touchdown.
And another skinny post from St. Francis. They had success with that in the first half. They tried to hit one of them in the second, and it got broken up. That one did not. That one goes all the way to the house, and that ball from Van Buren, that is an absolute dart to Manning for 6 points and another St. Francis Panthers touchdown, and I'm sure the previous 3 touchdowns they tried for the 2-point conversion. I expect nothing different here.
Lane, how big of a luxury is it for a team to have a running back the caliber of Darrell Robinson and then be able to drop back when all the focus is on stopping the run game, and then you have wide receivers like we've seen tonight in Ryan Manning, guys like Mekhi Workman?
I mean, your first goal on defense is to take away something. Let's take away something, and then you kind of decide, what do I have the best chance at, or where am I going to hurt the offense the most? And obviously the problem is when you can run when you want, well, what are you going to do? Your options on defense are to commit more people to stopping the run. And if you can't, once you bring people up to stop the run, well, that obviously is going to open you up on the back end, and you're going to end up not being able to double cover or bracket or spy or whatever you want to do back there behind. And then, so what do you drop a guy back into coverage, and that leaves you light against the run. So it's kind of you're kind of in a pickle no matter what you do. And I think that's why you look at all the great offenses, and you can run the ball when you want to, and then you can throw the ball, and you have kind of a mismatch on every snap. And St. Francis appears to have figured out a mismatch, and you get the ball, you got number 11, you got Robinson running it, and you sprinkle in a little bit of Williams, number 24, and when you feel like you've got that where you want it, you pop one out there to one of those wide receivers, and just got a lot of really good options for St. Francis. Their main problem, kid, is they only got one football. They can't get it out to everybody.
That's not a bad problem to have. I think that's one that most coaches across the country would be happy to have. Like the kind of talent they have on that roster. Again, St. Francis, such a unique school, founded way back in 1928 there in East Baltimore. And look at the history of this school. Founded to teach children of color to read the Bible, an all-girls institution for the bulk of their history. And today it's about 2/3 boys, about 65% play football. And you consider that they have 215 students total in the school. Pretty impressive what they've been able to do right there. And they continue.
And that's a
and
backwards
they've got
pass.
It was indeed, and the Panthers knew it immediately, and they are on it. St. Francis jumps on it. Idris Farouk with it for St. Francis Academy.
When we mentioned our previous game last week, we were talking about John Bosco versus Allen, and I felt this game has a lot of similarities. And Allen, anytime they really started to get something going, they just made a mistake, and John Bosco, they just pounced on it and made them pay for it. And I see DeSoto here being the same thing. DeSoto's a really good football team. They've done some really good things in this game, but just when you think they're going to be able to get something going, you have a backwards pass that gets a turnover and sets St. Francis up for a big play.
And a big play as Robinson takes it all the way down to the 11. Darrell Robinson. Figure they may have him iced and wrapped in bubble wrap on the bench, but that is not the case. Number 11 still out there making an impact.
No, and I can promise you he wants to be in the game. He's a player.
He certainly does. He'll take it again. Robinson down to the 8.
You've had this second half, you've had a series of short fields for St. Francis. You had a punt that didn't pass midfield by DeSoto. Again, you have that turn. Right there, that gets you the ball down there by the 30. You got short fields over and over and over, and it just becomes a challenge for your defense.
Another handoff, and great work flying to the ball. That was number 31, Brandon Booker, the junior linebacker, with the tackle.
That was a great tackle. That was nice and low. You know, you get the legs of those running backs. You can make contact down there on the legs and wrap them up. They can't go anywhere. Good form tackle, good linebacking. Diagnosed it really quick, got back there really quick. Good, solid tackle. Well done, young man.
Again, able to go through and in for the touchdown to Juan Williams.
And untouched. Not touched by one single player in a green jersey.
There is a flag down. Again, unsportsmanlike conduct, and I believe that is going to go against Michael Van Buren, the Panthers quarterback.
And I think it's going to be after the play. I think that's going to count. And we'll see when they choose to enforce the penalty.
Under 2 minutes remaining in the third, and St. Francis starting to pull away. DeSoto, their lone points came on their first offensive possession of the ball game when they had first and goal from the 2 after the 90-yard kickoff return to begin the game. They have not found points since. It doesn't mean they haven't had opportunities.
No, and they've done a pretty good job of moving the ball, but they get down to when it's time to really make it count. They've just got bogged down, or they've had a turnover, a penalty, or something along those lines. They've had great success running the ball right at the middle on quick hitting runs. They've had some success in the quick passing game. But overall, just not enough.
Another whistle on the 2-point conversion attempt. And it's going to go against the Panthers. They will continue to back up. And now they will attempt a 2-point conversion from the 30-yard line.
Kid, I watch a lot of football, and I have never seen a 2-point conversion from this distance. It is going to be from the 23-yard line.
I misspoke. So it's 7 yards closer in, but still, that's a heck of a 2-point conversion attempt.
That is, may never see anything like this again either.
And this is picked off, intercepted by the Eagles. Can they take this one back? Damon Mathis there on the interception, and he's exchanging pleasantries with the Panthers sideline.
More than likely sharing the spots for the best post-game meal with his friends over there from the Panthers. Good job, good play. I haven't seen anyone from this Eagles team quit. It's not about that. I mean, they've had a lot of breaks that have gone against them, some errors that of course they've been a part of themselves, but no quit. When you look at teams, you can tell a lot. Anything can happen, but when you're down 4 scores, and you've only scored on a 2-yard drive, might not be able to score enough touchdowns to win this game, but you always look for the guts and the heart and the effort that a team plays with when they're faced in an adverse situation. And I haven't seen any quit or any give up or anything at all from DeSoto, and you expect nothing less from a program with that amount of pride and a program that's run by someone like Claude Mathis.
Right you are, and you have to give them their due for scheduling a team like St. Francis Academy, because let's be honest, there are a lot of teams in the country that don't want to play the Panthers, and Coach Messiah Alamariam has said as much. He said it's been difficult trying to find games. There are a lot of teams, particularly in that region, there in Delmarva, there in the Maryland and the Mid-Atlantic region, who do not want to play them, so they've been forced to go further afield to find competition.
Kit, there ain't a heck of a lot of teams that want to play DeSoto in the state of Texas either.
Very good point. Right you are, my friend. That is exactly right. There's no argument. And here come the Eagles, a chance via special teams, and they will take it up across the 35 goes Trey Wisner.
I thought we might have a repeat of that opening kickoff. He bounces the outside. Looks like he had an opening. Good pursuit from the Panthers kickoff coverage team, but a good return nonetheless, especially that penalty had gone against them. And St. Francis kicking off from the 50-yard line. Good return. See if they can get something started here.
When the Eagles have been at their best on offense, it has been all about speed and keeping that Panthers defense on their heels. Able to get away? No, was initially, and then Bailey brought down. Able to get away from Brandon Thomas, but Thomas continued the pursuit and came away victorious in that battle.
And Thomas there was unblocked by anyone, and so you have to think that has to be some sort of bust on the left side of that offensive line or by the running back, but usually, very, very rarely are you going to turn a down lineman loose. So a bit of a mental error there on the part of DeSoto. You just don't see defensive linemen running loose.
Bailey steps up, now looks to throw. Able to get this one off, but incomplete.
No, they said he caught
He
that.
did indeed, excuse me. Hard to see there from the angle. Somehow able to come away with it. So a first down, and the Eagles moving quickly here with under a minute remaining in the third quarter. Jaden Trawick on the carry.
In the second quarter, you saw this. They hit a few passes, and they ran quick right up the middle, right over those guards. And they did have success, and it looks like they're doing the same thing here.
Again, Trawick continues to pick up yards on the ground, brought down by Darian Smith.
Good cutback from Trawick. Nothing doing on the left side, so he bounced it all the way back over that right guard.
St. Francis.
And I could see the St. Francis defensive staff coming on the field, and they look quite upset. Look like there's some misalignment, someone not quite doing their job with there on St. Francis, and they want to make sure they get that taken care of in a hurry because they don't want to give DeSoto any life.
If DeSoto's able to score on this drive, momentum-wise, that may be the spark they need in this one. Obviously, it's going to be an uphill climb, but it's not done yet.
Well, it takes one touchdown at a time. You got to get one and then see what happens from there. So looking for something positive to happen over here on DeSoto offense. Good job. They've moved the ball. See if they can execute and get it all the way in this time.
Bailey here to the near side.
Incomplete. Flags in. Think it's going to be a pass interference here. Should be 15 yards and a first down for the DeSoto Eagles. See what the white hat says.
Right you are. That's why we pay you the big bucks, my friend.
That's going to get them right around the 20-yard line. Best drive so far of the night for DeSoto. Just 19 yards away from their second touchdown of the game. Again, it's deep passes and runs up the middle.
Trawick has the running back. Bailey to the air, has a man looking for the pylon and overshot him.
Yep, just a little bit deep, about 3 yards too deep. I do like the location of that ball. That's that outside pylon. That's the right spot, just a touch too far from Bailey. Can't keep his receiver in bounds on that. And it's overthrown and going to be incomplete.
11 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Bailey looking to the sideline, see if there's a change of play coming. And Trawick, that ball may be out. I believe it is, and I believe St. Francis has it, and that is the case. Carlton Smith comes up with the recovery, And the Panthers continue to pounce on the Eagle turnovers.
And just immediately in the backfield with penetration, almost as soon as Bailey caught that snap and looked like there was trying to be a quarterback running back exchange, and multiple players from the Panthers right there, and fumble. Kind of been the story of the night, unfortunately, for DeSoto. You know, they moved the ball 40, 50 yards, and then something bad happens to them, and there it is again. And I should say something bad from DeSoto, but that error really forced by the penetration from the defensive front of St. Francis.
Here come the Panthers again, across midfield, over the 40, the 30, 20, 10, touchdown, St. Francis Academy, and guess who, Lane?
It's got to be number 11, Darrell Robinson, and he is having one of the better evenings I've seen from a running back on any level. They really do a good job on the left side. It's going to get flagged right here for unsportsmanlike conduct or someone on St. Francis there, but you know, getting onto the left side, and the DeSoto Eagles really soft out there on that edge. No one coming up and attacking, trying to force that run back inside. And all of a sudden, he gets going vertical, and he gets going full speed, and say goodnight to that. It is done. Katie bar the door, and he takes it the distance.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you did not know the name Darrell Robinson before tonight, do not forget it, because that young man, he is going to be playing on Saturdays, and I've got a feeling on Sundays someday in the near future.
He certainly turned heads tonight and opened some eyes.
As much talent as we have seen on the field today here in the I-20 Classic. Darrell Robinson making a statement, and his Panther teammates, backfield mate, not to be outdone. To one, Robinson says, all right, I can run the ball too.
And that is a converted two-point attempt from the 18-yard line. And I thought I wouldn't see it. I was wrong. It was from the 23 the previous time. That was from the 18. And maybe taking the wins out of DeSoto right there.
We're not done yet. Still an entire fourth quarter coming. Final game of the I-20 Classic. Fourth quarter coming up when we return to Clark Stadium.
Classic food vendors are still out in the north end. You can check that out before you leave. They'll have plenty of food out there for you. Anything from burgers to ribs to SoTo. It's all available. North end of the stadium. Classic food vendors.
"12 minutes to go here in Fort Worth, Texas. Clark Stadium, part of the Fort Worth Independent School District. Lane Grigg, Kit McConico with you. And Lane, well, we had a great game in our first game today. Duncanville, the Panthers taking down Jones Fighting Tigers out of Orlando, Florida, 44-21 the final. And St. Francis, the number 3 ranked team in the country out of East Baltimore, they've started to pull away as we get ready to start quarter number 4. We will see if the Panthers elect to onside this one as Chase Wilkins, their senior tight end, is standing over the ball. This would be their third onside kick attempt of the game.
And it looks like that's just what they do. Maybe they don't have a natural kicker, and so everything they do is really kind of short. Even the ones that weren't onside, they haven't gone very far.
We will see. Wilkins, right you are, just kicks that one down the sideline to the 30, and DeSoto will bring it up across the 40 to the 44.
And I'm not sure on those previous kicks if all of them really were truly intended to be onside or just perhaps a bit of a miss kick. But, you know, going back to DeSoto, and we know them very well, we being from Texas, and they're a good team, and they're going to be fine. You know, St. Francis is pretty exceptional, and we did that game last week with St. John Bosco coming in and beating Allen pretty decent. Well, Allen turned around and, you know, they won last night 49-14, and I think DeSoto is going to be just fine too. I think what you're seeing on the screen certainly isn't a reflection of how good DeSoto is and how good they're going to be this season. They're a team that's certainly going to win 3-4 games in the playoff, and they're going to be okay.
Trawick with the first down, takes it down to the 33. And you and I were actually talking before the game about this matchup and saying we think this is a wise move for Coach Mathis and DeSoto when they get into district, particularly as tough as their district is. And this DeSoto team, they don't want a district title. They want a state title. And if you're going to do that in Texas, you have to play some of the best teams. Why not play the best teams in your pre-district schedule? That's what they've elected to do.
Absolutely. And you come out of this game and you look at, and you can say it with a straight face and you can say it completely honesty, you know, you take away turnovers and where are you? You know, DeSoto's going to be right in this. And so it's a pretty easy coaching point. And where do you need to do on defense? Guys, we need to work on making sure we're sure tacklers. You know, and you get some of those tackles, you know, and instead of Robinson bouncing it out, you know, you get him down on that first tackle, and you're fine on defense too. So schematically, everything's fine for DeSoto. You're just playing a team that's got enough weapons to hurt you a little bit.
The Eagles continue to keep it on the ground. Wisner inside the 5, down to the 3.
And as you pointed out, it's much, much better to find out, you know, where some of your weaknesses may be in week 2 as opposed to week 11, week 12 when you're hitting your first and second round of the playoffs.
All right, timeout taken, 10:38 remaining in the ball game. St. Francis taking their third and final timeout. And Lane, to your point, how many teams you see that go into the postseason, they're 12-0, they're getting to that level, they're 11-0, and they pick up their first loss. Well, I think Coach Mathis, when they're eyeing a state title, he would much rather his team maybe start the season 1-1 and learn from that when they go to that postseason, as opposed to picking up that first loss, which could be a season-ending one if you're in the playoffs.
Absolutely. It's kind of like this evening during this game and the first game you had Ohio State playing Notre Dame. Ohio State wins 21-10, but Notre Dame's fine. You know, Notre Dame runs the table, and they're in the college football playoff picture where they want to be, and you get tested early and you figure out right here, right now, you know, yeah, you can go schedule an FCS team and you can beat them, you know, 52-0 or 52-7 or something like that, but you really don't find out anything about your football team. Well, that's not the case for DeSoto, and that's not the case for St. Francis. You know, DeSoto has exposed that defensive line kind of right up the middle as something that St. Francis is going to want to make sure they get those defensive tackles, make sure that run fit gets a little tighter moving forward.
It's a cliche, but it's true. You've got to play the best to be the best, and I think both these teams are taking that to heart.
No, they're going to learn a lot, both teams, from this.
So 3rd and goal from the 3. Again, Bailey. Wisner tries to bounce it outside, and there is the pursuit from the men in black and gray. It has been there all night long for the Panthers, and that time MJ Medley leads the charge. Medley, a freshman linebacker.
That's pretty impressive if you're a freshman playing on the varsity level. Also saw big Colin Coates, number 55, from his defensive line position, doing a good job chasing that play down from the inside out.
4th and goal. DeSoto will go for it as Darius Bailey remains in the shotgun. Wisner, the offset back. Pressure coming, just has to throw this one up, and all kinds of contact there. No flag comes in. That one may well have been ruled uncatchable.
I think so. I think you see that being an uncatchable ball, because there certainly was excessive contact on the part of St. Francis, and had that ball been in the vicinity, it would have been an automatic first down for DeSoto. But as it was well overthrown, and well overthrown due to the part of that ferocious pass rush once again from the St. Francis front line.
Again, you and I have spoken at length about what a unique school St. Francis Academy is, founded back in 1828, but it bears repeating, they have 215 students in the school.
Almost over half of them play football.
I was just about to say, it's something else. Coach Alamariam, give him full credit. His team, what he has been able to do there in East Baltimore's, they've not had a field, they've not had a training facility. In fact, they practice at Patterson Park, and just really speaks to it, where there's a will, there's a way. And you look at so many high schools, and it's an arms race, and they have indoor facilities and everything they have. And, well, those things are great, don't get me wrong. The athletes like them, the coaches like them, but to be quite frank, they're not necessary, and St. Francis proves that.
Well, you know, sometimes it's X's and O's, and sometimes it's Jimmy and Joe's, and St. Francis certainly has the Jimmy and Joe's to make it work.
They certainly do. And speaking of, and there is one of the best, continuing with that cadre of running backs. There's Tawan Williams. And what we've seen tonight from St. Francis, as good as they are, you've got to make a statement when you're out there. If you're second or third string and you get some touches, you have to make something happen.
Absolutely, and I think, you know, at some point, all that travel, that 8,000 miles, there's going to be some fatigue involved, and you want to make sure that you're going to be generating some depth. Of course, you know, there's going to be injuries throughout the year as well, so looks like we got a new quarterback in the backfield, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe you're correct, but it continues to be that rushing attack, and here they go yet again. Tawan Williams, another carry just shy of midfield.
And I'm pretty sure that you could probably put whoever you wanted back there that could catch a snap and stick their arms out and give it to number 24 or give it to number 11, and you're going to be in business. And we should also point out, we've spent plenty of time talking about the running backs, and rightfully so, but none of that happens without that group up front. That offensive line, they certainly deserve a lot of credit. And you see the tight end there, that's big number 88, Chase Wilkins. He hasn't received a pass this year. He's back there doing the dirty work along with that offensive line, so hats off to the unsung heroes there.
Edward Jordan, the freshman, in as the quarterback for the Panthers, and they just continue to keep things trucking ahead. Nicholas Harris that time on the carry.
You got across that offensive front, you got 75, Andre Weeks in there at the left tackle. I've highlighted that left guard, number 65, Randy Lowe. You've got the right guard is number 69, he's Logan Bennett. 71 in at center, Dajian Powell. And you got the right tackle doing his job as well. That looks like it's number 52, Alec Washington.
Panthers continue to keep this one on the ground, eating up chunks of yardage and clock as well.
And that play last time, that right tackle, that was Kahari Finley, 6'5", 290. You got to have a lot of confidence when you're a running back and you look up and you see that size offensive line in front of you, and you you got a 6'5", 255-pound tight end that looks skinny standing next to those big guys. Got to make you feel a certain level of comfort as a running back.
Jordan with the handoff.
I tell you what, that's a good play right there by number 26, Hakeem Rashawn, dodging that offensive lineman and making a play. It takes a lot of guts, you know, out there at cornerback or safety, and your job is to force that run back inside, and you're screaming up the field, and you're one-on-one with 6'5", 300, and you got to make a decision. You got to make it quick. That's a fine play from the young man right there.
Cy Hallamariam, you see him there in the foreground, a head coach, 11 years as a coach. And what a job he's done with St. Francis. He said, really, it's our job to use football to provide opportunities for these young men from Baltimore and East Baltimore, and he's given them just that. Over 100 players have gone on to the next level and giving them opportunities, not just to continue in football, but academically, and chances to come away with college degrees. What he's been able to do for that school and that community, just incredibly impressive.
Absolutely. They do a good job over there. You know, interestingly enough, we were talking about St. Francis starting in the 1920s. DeSoto starting actually in 1915. Older than the St. Francis Academy. They've been doing it for 107 years.
Oh, I must correct you there. St. Francis started in 1828.
Excuse me, I thought you said 1928.
No,
that's why we let the Baltimore Sun people do the math.
Clock ticks down as they will pick up another first down. Will the Panthers? Yeah, DeSoto, what a history they've had, and as we said, colloquially referred to as DeSoto U in Texas because of the players they've sent to the next level.
2016 6A classification state champions, undefeated, 16-0. And anytime you run the gamut in the largest classification in the state of Texas, you've had yourself a heck of a year, reaching the semifinals as well in 2012 and 2013. And they're used to winning a lot of ball games over there in the green and gold.
And they will this year, but not tonight, as the Panthers are going to tack on another. Nicholas Harris takes it right up the middle, untouched, for a Panthers touchdown.
And running out of accolades here for St. Francis in that running game, and that offensive line. You definitely see a lot of good things happening in the future for these St. Francis Panthers.
It all started with Darrell Robinson, who put on one of the more impressive performances that you and I have seen from a running back, no matter the level, in some time. We've also seen DeJuan Williams, his stablemate, and now Nicholas Harris as well, a true three-headed monster of running backs for the Panthers.
Well, I think you've got a three-headed monster at running back, but you've also got a five-headed monster on that offensive line, and they deserve a lot of credit.
So St. Francis attempting the PAT, and they split the uprights. So the Panthers having extended their lead to 47-7. 4:32 remaining in the ball game. We'll take a quick break here. It's the I-20 Classic, live from Clark Stadium in Fort Worth. Panthers sending it back to the Eagles as they will wisely fall on it at the 36, and that is where DeSoto will begin their drive with 4:27 remaining in the ball game. And if you're looking at this scoreline, it was actually DeSoto who scored first. They took the opening kickoff all the way down to the 2-yard line of St. Francis. 2 plays later, they were able to take it in for the touchdown. But ever since, it has been the Panthers of St. Francis Academy, the men from East Baltimore. They have put on a display tonight in the Lone Star State.
Especially on offense. We were talking during that break. It's just pretty amazing how the speed of anyone that touches the ball from St. Francis. They're home run hitters, every one of them.
You have seen a lot of football in your life as a player, a coach, and you were commenting on Darrell Robinson, one of the best running backs that you have seen, certainly at the high school level, possibly the best.
It's really impressive to see someone that can get to top speed that quickly. And that just makes it so tough on a defense when, you think you have them wrapped up and you're just a little late to the tackle, or maybe you just don't quite get the cleanest shot on them. And instead of dancing around and allowing the rest of the posse to come clean it up, it's like 2 steps and he's full speed, and before you know it, he's 10, 15 yards down the field.
You said it, has the size, 6'1", 200 pounds, but runs like a man much smaller with the fleet feet he has, is able to spin away, but here comes the posse in pursuit for the Panthers. Couldn't get away from that second wave, Marvin Duffy.
An immediate penetration, blowing up that play from the start. Duffy does a good job, only losing a yard on that play, and actually does a really good job holding on to the football there, because he kind of got blindsided from the back and he never saw it coming.
Brings up 4th down. Clock now inside of 2 minutes, or 3 minutes left in the ball game.
DeSoto maybe a man short. Yep, there he is. He came running off. Running on. Actually, it was the punter that wasn't on. Looks like they're going to have to call a timeout, get it all sorted out.
They will indeed. Eagles take a timeout, 2:33 remaining. And DeSoto trailing St. Francis 47-7 here at the I-20 Classic. DeSoto kicking it away. The punt back to the Panthers. Panthers will have it in under 2.5 minutes remaining in this one. Our second game in today's doubleheader in the I-20 Classic. Duncanville taking down Jones High School out of Orlando in our first matchup. 44-21, the Panthers beat the Fighting Tigers there. And this one, it has been, by and large, those men there in black and gray exchanging a few handshakes, and well earned by the St. Francis Academy Panthers. Finished last year number 3 in the country, came into this year ranked number 3 in the country. But they have said quite simply, it is about the national title. That is the goal. They are 2 minutes and 20 seconds away from starting their season 2-0.
And it is any head coach and offensive coordinator's favorite formation, the victory formation. it looks like they are content, and they have certainly earned the right with an extremely dominating second half to run out the clock here, St. Francis.
They've done it via the run game, and obviously that very impressive offensive line paving the way for a trio of top-class running backs. Not to take anything away from the wide receivers in the passing game we saw from Michael Van Buren. The running game opening things up, and those big men leading the way. They will take this snap with just over a minute and a half remaining. So again, take a look at the upcoming schedule. The Panthers, they are next in action September the 15th as they will head down to the Sunshine State to take on Venice, Florida. They're at Powell Davis Stadium.
And DeSoto, they've got South Oak Cliff and DeSoto. That's pretty tough. You've got St. Francis 1 week, the defending 5A. That's one classification lower in the state of Texas. State championship, South Oak Cliff Golden Bears. That'll be another game. DeSoto and South Oak Cliff, all kinds of college talent on that field. So kind of out of the frying pan and into the fire from DeSoto. And again, credit to Coach Mathis. They're not afraid. They're not going to duck people. They're going to get out there and they're going to schedule tough teams, and they're going to be fine. But that's going to be a really good matchup. That's going to be worth attending to if you're in the Metroplex too. That'll be a good one.
Yeah, SOC gave Duncanville all they could handle last week, and it'll be a good one when the Eagles and the Golden Bears get together next week at Eagles Stadium in DeSoto. Final few seconds tick off the clock here at Clark Stadium in Fort Worth. Take the opportunity to thank our entire Flow football crew. Big thanks to Philip Hopwood and everybody back there doing a great job bringing this to you. As we wouldn't be able to bring you these top teams in the country without our crew, both in studio and on site. Long days for them and our camera crew as well. So massive thanks to them. Thanks to you, partner. It's been a fun day.
It's been great. We've seen a lot of good football, seen a lot of good talent. It's always fun. I kind of biased, but high school football, it's my favorite. You got everyone playing for the right reason. Got lots of students involved, lots of parents, the community. A lot of good things happen on Friday nights. Of course, this is a Saturday night with a high school game. Lots of good things.
There's just something about high school football and something about this time of year as the clock will tick down to 0, and that will do it as we wrap up the I-20 Classic here in Fort Worth. And it's St. Francis Academy coming away victorious 47-7. We thank you for joining us on Flow Football, and we wish you a good night from Clark Stadium in Fort Worth. We will see you next time on Flow Football.